Transmitter systems most commonly associated with the psychoactive effects of drugs and nutrients that, in many cases, are regularly consumed today. This book is intended not as an exhaustive review of all that is known about the topic of food and drugs and the brain, but rather as a brief, and I hope enjoyable, introduction to it. By the end of the book, you will know more than just how a select group of drugs or food works in your brain. You will be able to predict how substances that I did not discuss, and those that have not even been discovered yet, might also affect your brain. Even better, you may look back on the chapters you have listened to and discover that they are much too simplistic for you now, and that you want to learn more about greater complexities of brain function than this book covers. If listening to this book motivates you to learn more about neuroscience and its associated topics, then I will have succeeded in my goal to advance your understanding of your brain. This book could not have been written without the encouragement and generosity of my mentors, colleagues, family, and friends, particularly David Alton, who patiently motivated my curiosity in the effects of drugs on the brain; James McGaw, who inspired my interest in behavioral pharmacology; Giancarlo Pepio, who has continued to nurture my interest in the role of drugs in the history of culture; Peebo Bryson, a man with an exquisite voice, who challenged me to explore the role of neuroscience in religion; Paul Gold, for the many perspicacious discussions on the Utah slopes; and Jacqueline Crawley, for her boundless enthusiasm and stimulating insights into the function of the brain. Their wisdom helped focus my fanciful ideas into rational theories. The insights are theirs. The errors are mine. I will always be grateful to Joan Bossert and Catherine Carlin at Oxford University Press for their unflagging support and optimism at every step of this long journey. I also feel very privileged to have worked with Marion Osman, a brilliant and talented editor who provided a nurturing combination of advice and encouragement. I am also grateful to the thousands of students who have taken my psychopharmacology classes and whose personal stories enliven this book. During every stage of the writing, the text benefited immeasurably from the wonderful editorial suggestions of my wife, a woman with unrivaled intelligence and uncommon patience. She shaped my concept of my audience and how to reach them, and skillfully converted my jargon into intelligible prose. I have learned to trust her judgment and insight more than my own. If there is wisdom in my writing, it has evolved under her guidance. This book is dedicated to Jane. Chapter 1. Food, Drugs, and You. A long time ago, our ancestors discovered that ingesting some plants or the body parts of certain animals produced effects that were rather unpleasant, or even lethal. Reference to these substances appeared in a collection of prayers of comfort for the dying, and referred to a type of spiritual medicine, at the time called a pharmacon, that was used principally to alleviate suffering near the end of life. Simply stated, a pharmacon was a poison. Originally, the term pharmakos referred to a human scapegoat who was sacrificed, sometimes literally by poisoning, as a remedy for the illness of another person, usually someone far more important in the local society. Later, around 600 BCE, the term came to refer to substances used to cure the sick. It is, of course, related to two terms in use today: pharmacology, the scientific investigation of the mechanisms by which drugs affect the body, and psychopharmacology, the study of the effects of drugs on the brain, effects that in turn are defined as psychoactive.